find out what such a press can do. And if you have a potato printing, then you have to find out what the limitation is. If you go into screen printing, you have to find out the limitation. And the most applied printing principle is sheet fed offset. So I would say 90% of your job goes into sheet fed offset printing for producing a product. So you are not alone in the world. You are just the beginner, the starter in the entire process. Here, you have the order. Of course, you need an estimate. You need to know what the budget is. You need to know the time frame. You need to know for what purpose you are going to design a product. But then, you go into the design, and in designing, you have different steps. You are doing maybe selecting the right photographs. You have to find out whether the photograph is a good one. I will show you later an example that gives you a hint what is a good photograph and what is a bad photograph. Because the human eye, if it looks to a photograph, goes first into the highlights, because this is bright, this is white, and that catches our attraction. So people go first into the highlights. And if I see all these white shirts here, if you don't have details in the highlights, the image is perceived as not good. You may not know exactly why you have a bad feeling, but if you compare it with a different image, where you have in the highlights still some modulation. So this is then perceived as a much better, harmonized, healthy image to look at. So, but you don't know actually, it is in the unconscious perception. So all that goes into selecting the right picture when doing design. Then you have a layout. Sometimes you have different data programs like Designer, Quark Express, a lot of InDesign, a lot of other Corel Draw. There are so many different software, but you have to know that they are not necessarily compliant or compatible between each other. If you make a box in InDesign and then you convert it into PDF and then you use it for the next step, then it may not be the same after that. YMCK conversion done by Corel Draw and completed by Photoshop may not be the same. So there are many loopholes and bobby traps and problems in between when you jump from one software supplier to another one. But you may not realize these things because you sit on an electronic panel and do just some graphic designing things. So a layout is very important. Color separation. Is it already color separated or is it not separated? What do you get out of the individual image? What you get? Is the image good? Is the image bad? Is the how do you say, the distance, the density distance between the highlights and the shadows, is that huge? Do you have it to compensate? So there are many questions and many things to consider when you go into design. And this is only picture, this is only design, this is artwork, this is text. And then it comes to the next point, is that really printable what you are doing? We have seen this color guide here. This color guide has two segments. One segment is a coded paper, and the second segment is uncoded paper. And if you look to the same YMCK combination, it is totally different because the paper is different. If you have an uncoded paper, so there are the ink which you supply onto the paper does not sit on the surface. It gets absorbed. And maybe the uncoated paper is a bit yellowish one that changes the entire appearance of the YMCK because suddenly you have too many pigments of yellow in it. So the YMCK